What's going on, folks? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and continuing on with our coverage of the newest Forgotten Realms books that have dropped, we're going to tackle the second subclass on this list, and that is the Knowledge Domain Cleric. This is an original 2014 Player's Handbook subclass that was updated, hit the Unearthed Arcana process, I think, once or twice, and then has landed here in its final form in Heroes of Faerun. So, just before we dive in here, again, more of this coming as fast as I can make them with, having, real life kids, family, all that stuff. But I will continue to grind this out as much as I can. So keep an eye here on the channel. You're probably going to want to do that whole subscribe, ring the notification bell, because there will be a ton of videos coming out. It'll be very easy to miss them. All right. So here we are on D&D Beyond, and we have the Knowledge Domain Cleric here. This is very much a wizardy style cleric, and you can see that starts with level 3 Blessing of Knowledge. You gain proficiency in one type of artisan's tools of your choice and in two of the following skills: Arcana, History, Nature, Religion, and you have expertise in those two skills, meaning you double your proficiency bonus. Again, as a cleric, you're going to have access to a handful of those. And depending on the type of cleric you are, you might even be able to add your wisdom modifier to, like, say, the religion roll. You could possibly have expertise and adding your wisdom modifier to that religion roll, depending on the choice you make at level 1 as your cleric. So you might actually have one of the highest potential options for that particular skill check, higher than basically anybody else in the game can have, higher than a rogue, anything, because you already got expertise and then bonuses on top. Now, you also get the knowledge domain spells, and here's what's very interesting. Unlike any other class in the game that gets additional automatically prepared spells, the knowledge domain cleric actually gets 3. So it says right here, you thereafter always have the listed spells prepared. And it says command, comprehend languages, detect magic, detect thoughts, identify mind spike. So I don't know why it says spell of divination school. That might come up. I think that comes up with one of the features that we'll see. But as you'll notice, at level 3, you actually get 6 auto prepared spells. Now, these are very good spells to have prepared. These are a ton of utility options here in comprehend languages, detect magic, and identify. 3 very, very useful out of combat spells. Even detect thoughts, also very useful outside of combat. And then command and mind spike, very good spells to just have in the tank if you need them. At 5th level, you're going to get dispel magic, non-detection, and tongues. Again, a excellent series of utility options here. Dispel magic is never not useful. Non-detection is great if you're trying to avoid being found. And tongues is, again, another option. So comprehend languages allows you to understand a language. Tongues allows you to speak any language. Then you get Arcane Eye, Banishment, and Confusion at level 7. Arcane Eye is an infinitely useful recon spell. Banishment is high level CC for combat, and then Confusion also giving you battlefield control options. And then again at level 9, you're going to have Legend, Lore, Scrying, and Synaptic Static. Legend, Lore, and Scrying, again, two exceptionally useful out of combat utility spells, and Synaptic Static being a high level CC and damage spell. In case people are unfamiliar with MMO terminology and things, CC means crowd control. I figured I'd just put that out there for folks. All right, and at level 3, you get Mind Magic. As a magic action, you can expend one use of your channel divinity to manifest your magical knowledge. Choose one spell from the divination school on the knowledge domain spells table that you have prepared. As part of that action, you can cast that spell without expending a spell slot or needing material components. That's why it has the little asterisks to kind of make that easy for you. You now know any of these ones with an asterisk, you can use your channel divinity to cast, and then you could do so by having it not need any material components. I'm not sure how expensive the material components are for some of these off the top of my head, but more importantly, it allows you to do them with your channel divinity as opposed to using a spell slot, which is very nice. At level 6, you get, oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and just check real quick what's different from the Unearthed Arcana that was released more recently with this. Looks like the spells are the same. Looks like Blessing of Knowledge is the same. And mind magic was, yep. Okay, that seems to be identical. They looks like they didn't change a thing about that. All right, unfettered mind. You gain telepathy out to 60 feet. When you use this telepathy, you can simultaneously contact a number of creatures equal to your wisdom modifier. Additionally, you gain the proficiency in intelligence saving throws. If you already have proficiency in this saving throw, you gain saving throw proficiency with one ability in which you lack. That is the same. Oh no, it was additionally if your total for an intelligence check is lower than your wisdom score, you can use that score in place of the total. I actually really like that a lot. Intelligence saving throws are very few and far between. But they're very impactful if you do get hit with one. I mean, synaptic static being a spell that happens to work on that, which would give you proficiency in it. I don't know how you would gain proficiency in it otherwise than like taking resilient. But either way, or maybe if I don't think there are species options that give you proficiency in intelligence saves. I very much liked the level 6 feature here. So again, what this was saying is if you were to make an intelligence check, right? So whether that's a spell, I guess it would only be spell casting if you were using a wizard or something. But so you're going to make an arcana check, an investigation check, some sort of intelligence based check. And the total of the check was lower than your wisdom score. That's the number you have, the big number, right? So let's say you're lucky enough at level 6 to have a 20 in your wisdom. That would mean the lowest you could roll on an intelligence check is 20. And it's again, it's not even it's like you still get to roll, and if the roll was lower than that, you just would be taking whatever your wisdom score is as the total. Which again, as a cleric, typically your wisdom is going to be very high, 18, 20, maybe 20 plus, depending on, magic items and things. But yeah, that's a pretty nice feature there. I kind of like that a lot. But listen, proficiency in a saving throw isn't bad. I just think the previous version was a little bit better. And lastly, divine foreknowledge at level 17. As a bonus action, you can magically expand your mind to the future. For the next hour, you have advantage on all d20 tests. That means all attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws. You were just going to give yourself advantage on all of those. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, and you can restore this feature by expending a sixth plus level 6 or above spell slot as no action. Um, and that looks to be exactly the same. So they really didn't change much from the Unearthed Arcana on the knowledge domain. The big change was this intelligence saving throw proficiency versus the other one. I kind of liked the other one, and I felt like that feels more knowledge cleric based. I understand the concept. I honestly, you could just give them both, really. Intelligence saving throws, like I said, are relatively rare, but the other version feels more like I'm super knowledgeable, like because I'm so good at making these kind of intelligence checks. Um, yeah, I think this is pretty strong, right? It's not like a full wizard subclass, and it's not like a full skill monkey subclass, but it gives you a decent amount of utility. You'll have a decent amount of expertise. You have a ton of very powerful utility options. And don't forget, it's still based on the base chassis of cleric, right? Where you are going to have things like divine intervention. You're going to have access to all of your various healing spells, guiding bolt, spirit guardians, guidance. You have a lot of powerful options here. And then again, the opportunity to cast some of these without expending a spell slot. You have telepathy. It says you can simultaneously contact a number of creatures. I forget what the official ruling is telepathy in D&D 2024, if that means that you can have like, is this a one-way blast of information, or can you guys have an actual communication between one another? So I don't know. I like it. Again, it's not my favorite cleric subclass. It is strong by any means. And if you don't have an intelligence class or you don't have a rogue, then this is a very powerful option. If I was going to be playing, let's say, something like Baldur's Gate 3 and I needed someone to hit these kind of skill checks, I might bring like a knowledge domain cleric to kind of fill that sort of role because they have those options. And then I could, still have like a healer, but also have like somebody to kind of hit these intelligence checks when necessary. So, again, this also could be an option where if you guys already have like a lot of the major things covered in the campaign and you just need a little bit extra, Well, no one's going to be sad about having a cleric in the party and then also having a little bit of the knowledge based stuff. Like I said, I think the biggest thing is those spells. That's a pretty wide spell list that covers a lot of very powerful utility options. So, anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I'll see you all next time for the Banneret Fighter, one of my standout favorites of this book.